to speak to us today from His Word. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, great and mighty God, Lord, we thank you, Lord, for this day that you have made, Lord God. We thank you, Master, Lord God, for all your grace and your mercies, Lord, that you have bestowed upon us. Lord, you have provided for us even more, Lord, than we require, Lord God. We thank you, Lord God. We bless your name. We exalt you, Jesus. Father, these your people have come to your house today, Lord, to worship you, to exalt your name, and to lift you on high, Father. Lord God, we have also come to hear from you, Lord. Lord God, and we ask you, Lord, to send forth your word, Lord, with power, Lord God. Lord, prepare our hearts to receive your word, so that, God, we will bring forth fruits. Master, and God, in the name of Jesus. Amen. You may have your seats. As you will judge for yourself, my word was confirmed by Brother Dave and Sister Lee. That you will judge that for yourself. Praise Him. And I want to dwell on the verse that he shared. Said, whatever you put your hand to, you must do it with all our might. Whatever you put your hand to do, you do it with all your might. You are here because you have decided to serve Jesus Christ, to worship Him. And you are to worship Him with all your might. This is His word for us today. Many of us, many children of God, you go through life, you start to serve God. You're serving God and you find, man, this is a difficult thing. What is happening? You come to know the Lord, you're having problems. Some problem come up and you're seeking the Lord for answers to deliver you out of that situation. And before you get delivered from that, you see another problem. And you're coming out of that and another problem. So you're always going through problems. So you know, you have a tendency to drop your hand and say, oh God, serving God is a burdenous, tiresome thing. It's a strenuous thing. You're always fighting some battle. You're always fighting some battle. So many children of God, they accept this. So, well, you know, this is a Christian life, so I resign myself to that. The word of God says, it confirms this. Psalm 34 and verse 19 says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. So my afflictions have to be many. So the word of God confirms that, so it's so. My afflictions will be many. You know, and the other word of God says, whom the Lord loveth, He chastiseth. So I must get chastisement. So I resign myself to that. My life is a life where I've been beaten upon. The word of God says also, the wages of sin is death, and I must pay for my sin. So the things that I'm going through is a pain for my sin. Right? And you drop your hands and you're just going through the motions, you're serving God with no might. But God says, whatever you put your hand to, you must do it with all your might. You're praising God, you're worshiping God, you have to do it with all your might. Amen. And the devil used the word of God that I just quoted, Psalm 34, and the one that says, you know, Hebrews 12 and 6, which says, whom the Lord loveth, He chastiseth. And you know, the the enemy used the word against you to get you in that frame of mind, to get you in that position where you're feeling like that. That is not true. But if you accept that in your mind, Jesus says unto us, be it unto you as you believe. So you believe that. So your life will be tiresome, you'll always be defeated, you have no joy, no peace in your life. You're going down like going around like that. But that is not what the Word of God says. You know, like when Jesus was tempted by the devil, he said, bow down and worship me, and I will give you everything. You know? And he said, show yourself off this pinnacle, and God will send angels, because he would say to send angels. And you say, he would say, I must be chastised because you love me. And you accept it. Jesus didn't accept it. He said, you should not tempt the Lord thy God. You know, so you have to answer him back to the word of God. You like this. This is not what God intended. The chastisement you're getting, you love you, he's chastising you. Yes, this will happen. The chastisement, the problems that you're going through your life, you're going through as a child of God, is not to kill you, and it's not to keep you down. Jesus said, before you let me say, I give you my peace. My peace I leave with you. Of course, we go through trials and tribulations, but what are the trials and the tribulations we go through? We have one man in the Bible. We can look at some of the things that he went through and see why he went through it. Sometimes we get chastisement. Sometimes we have to pay the consequences of our sins. That is true. Sometimes we have to pay for our sins. Our sin have a consequence, and we must pay for it. And we see that in 2 Samuel 12. Right? You don't need to turn here, but that's for your own reference, so you know where I'm getting it from. Right? The Word of God tells us that David went through many trials and persecutions, right? Why? He paid for some sins that he committed. He took this man's wife, Uriah the Hittite. He took his wife, right? He had a child with that. And God was angry with him. And because of that, he had consequences to pay. You know, he had a price to pay for it. When he did that, God sent Nathan to him. Prophet Nathan went to him and said, the Lord said, you must be punished. God said what? The Lord speaking to David says, now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me and taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Behold, I was raised up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes and give them to thy neighbor, and he shall lie with them in the sight of this sun. And what God did to him, God brought that to pass. The sword never left his house. He always had problems in his family. His son, Ammon, raped his daughter, Tamar. Okay? Absalom, his son, killed one of his other son, Ammon. Absalom revolted against David. He tried to take the kingdom from him. And he was killed. Joab killed him. Solomon was one of David's sons. He killed another of his son named Adonijah. He killed him. So in David, as a king, as a man after God's own heart, he went through many trials and persecution. And this didn't happen in one day, this happened over a period of time. But also David had other persecutions. Remember when he slew Goliath, Saul was jealous of him and Saul wanted to kill him. That's all. But he wasn't paying for no sin that he did. Right? So the trial, what I'm saying, the trials and the tribulations that you go through, it's not always you're paying for your sin. So don't let the devil convince you of that and you live a defeated life. You have no joy and peace. Yeah? What the Bible tells us about the sin. What is the truth? The Bible says when Jesus hung on the cross, he declared, "It is finished." It is finished. Meaning the righteous demands of a just God was satisfied and his wrath was appeased. God is at peace for us. The sins that we committed when Jesus died, it finished. We finished, paid for the sins. The sins was paid for. Jesus paid for your sins in all. So you don't have to come back now and pay for that sin. Jesus paid for your sin already. So God ain't punishing you because of your sin. The things that you're going through is not because of your sin, not punishment you receive for your sin. So don't live a defeated life. We are told so in Ephesians 2, verses 8 and 9 says, "For by grace you are saved through faith, and that not of yourself. It is a gift of God, not by works, lest any man should boast." It is a gift of God. You don't pay for a gift, God gave you it. You don't have to pay for your sins. Jesus paid for your sins already. There's a gift God gifted the world was Jesus Christ paid for your sins. So you don't have to accept that I must pay for my sins and all the trials and tribulations I'm going through is because of my sins. Sometimes we pay for our sins in situations like David did, but David had many other trials and tribulations he went through. All wasn't paying for his sin. Okay? So don't let the devil convince you of that. Because if he convinces you and you accept it, Jesus says, "Be it unto you as you believe." So if you believe it, you accept it. And that is how you will live. So, my message to you today is don't accept that and live a defeated life. So that when you're worshiping God and you're serving God, you need to serve Him with all your might. Whatever you put your hand to do, you do it with all your might. Praise Him. In the book of Job, saw another man who went through trials and tribulation. Job went through a lot of trials and tribulation. Job was a man blessed. God had blessed him. He was blessed. He was given a blessed life. He had wealth, enormous wealth. Right? He had children. He had everything. He was at peace and happy. And then all was taken from him. All his wealth was taken from him. All his children was killed. His wife also died. He himself was stricken with some terrible disease. It was so bad that his wife told him, he said, "Well, you're suffering as curse God and die." He didn't know, according to the Bible, he had no sins. He didn't do anything sinful.